3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash, and here is today's comic. No, not really. This is Batman Detective Comics 1009. I hate when it's Batman. Just call it Detective Comics. Anyways, I've had some comments in my chat on my channel about, what's going on with the Detective Comics? When are you going to do more Detective Comics? And I didn't mean to go away from Detective Comics. I'm still enjoying Detective Comics. I still buy Detective Comics. I was just trying to diversify with other comics. I can only do so many. I try to do one comic a day, so 7 comics a week. And some fall to the wayside. I've done a ton of detectives, so I thought maybe it was time to shine some light on some other books. But I didn't forget about these. I did read them. These issues I skipped. You had 1009, 1010, and also 1011. This is a little 3-issue mini arc featuring Deadshot. This first cover has Mr. Freeze on it. It's not Mr. Freeze at all. It also has Doug Mahnke art. Doesn't have Doug Mahnke's story. It's totally misleading. But it's a story about Deadshot, and it's a really cool story. Is this Kyle Hott's art? I really like Kyle Hott's. It's a story about Deadshot. Basically, Bruce and a bunch of other billionaires are flying to some meeting doing something or other, and Deadshot shows up. He's hijacking the plane. How he got on the plane to hijack. Yeah. Anyways, it's comics. He poses as one of the pilots. He gets on and is going to hijack. He's been hired to kidnap all these billionaires, and then, as fate would hold, the plane gets struck by lightning in midair, and it crashes on this deserted island, or so they think is a deserted island. And then Bruce has to run around. He's got separated from the rest of the survivors of the wreckage. How everyone survived the wreckage, that's, again, just comics. But he ends up running around as this weird pseudo-Batman on the island. And I don't want to spoil anything else. It's a fun story. It's a good little side story. It's the type of classic comics that we know and love and, we're used to. So, be that as it is, let's get into today's comic, 1012. So, this starts the actual arc with Mr. Freeze. Doug Mahnke's back. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and if I'm not, please someone correct me. I hate when they put the logo down here at the bottom, but what are you going to do? So we start off, let's see if we can do this right here. Falling at just the right height, at just the right moment, at just the right temperature. A drop of cold water smashes into a dust particle and creates an ice crystal. Predetermination? Predestination? Both? They've each taken 2 different paths, 2 different angles, but still managed to attract each other. And for a short time, they dance in the sky, unique, distinct. Freeze frame. But the center doesn't hold. They crash to the ground like they'd never been together at all. These events take place before Batman 77. Here's the credits. Peter Tomasi, story and words. Doug Mahnke, penciler. Blah, 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 blah. So I read this at first and I was like, oh boy, here we go. It's tying into Batman. We got the Batcat. This is obviously some poetic reference to Bat and the Cat. So then we cut over to the Gotham dockyard. And then it's like, that part's gone. I don't know. Why was that there? This was once a grand yacht. The Dolphin, one of the first places we tangled. Diamonds in Disguises was the name of our game. Now just another memory dismantled for scrap. So Batman is basically reminiscing. All this useless beauty, Selina. At just the right height. At just the right moment. At just the right temperature. Melts. And so then I was like, oh, I guess I'm not over. I guess it's still more Tom King. I was like, what's going on? This is Tomasi. He doesn't... But here's the deal. It is up to a professional writer. And Tomasi is a professional. Even though another colleague may be doing something screwed up that fans don't like, it is up to a professional writer to maintain continuity, to respect what is happening in the other books, right? I know as fans it's easy to say, Tomasi should just ignore all the Tom King bullshit. Okay, I get that. I totally do get that. But at the same time, if you open yourself up to that and then writers just start ignoring whatever they don't like of other people's work and stuff, it's just a huge slippery slope that goes down to a path we don't want. We do want continuity. And it's up to the fans to really decide what to accept and what not to accept, not for the pros to tell us what to accept and what not to accept. And so I thought about this scene in that light, and I was like, this isn't really that bad. We know that Bruce is in love with Selena. He's having trouble with it. And when I stop and realize that this isn't a Tom King, woe is me journal and just write all my, psychoses into Batman, I was like, this isn't actually bad. I'm reading too much into it. I'm projecting into this work that I would not have found a problem if Tom King's Batman didn't exist. I wouldn't bat an eye. So I move on. The magic blanket of symmetry falls, Nora, a reflection of internal order. Exterior -2 degrees Fahrenheit. Crystallization, my love, of desire, of resurrection. Forgive my totally woeful German attempt to do some sort of German accent or whatever. I'm really terrible at accents. Just wanted to differentiate the voice between Batman and Mr. Freeze here. Or is it Dr. Freeze? I always forget. I get my names mixed up. But it's different. And it's sort of like yin-yang. The whole purpose of this is to juxtapose the relationship that Bruce is having with Selena with the driving force that drives Mr. Freeze, with his lost love that he's keeping frozen to one day resurrect. And now, for the details, my dear. He pulls off his glass helmet. Exterior, -2 degrees Fahrenheit. Internal body core, -2 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, exactly as we'd hope. The time has come, my darling, to feed our souls. So, we get Dr. Freeze and Mr. Freeze, and we're seeing that he's developed some sort of nanotechnology, which immediately kind of makes me cringe a little bit. I'm so sick of this tired trope in comics. It's just nanotechnology is the magic technology that does anything that we want it to do. Oh, I need some sort of scientific explanation for something. Nanotechnology, right? It's way overused. Again, it's one of those things, if I had never heard of nanotechnology, this would probably have been kind of cool. Mr. Freeze has developed, some sort of thing that he could take off the helmet now. It's an evolution of his abilities and stuff as a character, but it's just, everyone's nanotechnologies these days. So he's talking to Nora, his love, who's frozen in this canister, and he's like, we're one step closer, essentially, to getting you. Now, he's hired this team to go and extract these women. This is Team 1. Subject tranquilize. Good. Bring her here as instructed earlier. Transport with extreme care. Team 2 heading back with subject. A boyfriend was neutralized. Take note of anyone trying to follow you. And neutralize them too. All right, lines are cut. Just the pooch to worry about. The T-bone with a little trank will handle that. We see this woman. She's diving. And there's the guard dog. Chow time, Snoopy. Did you notice that these women look a lot like Freeze's wife? We see the woman swimming in the pool. Yeah, so? Evening, lady. What the are you doing? Thunk. You couldn't wait till she was fully out of the pool. I ain't diving to fish her out. So we see that she falls back into the pool. And Mr. Freeze, we get the whole point of the story is that Mr. Freeze has hired these special teams to basically get these women. Now, this next job we see kind of goes awry. We see the car pull up, and a woman's watching TV. Her husband's out for the night, and she opens the door. It's like ding dong. And it's like, oh my God. And they shoot and they miss. The dog's barking. So they shoot the dog, and she slips and falls and bashes her head open on, I guess, the coffee table or the TV or something. And so she's all marked up, and he says, oh, Freeze said unharmed. We can't bring her back. Shit, let's get out of here. So they bail. Back to Gotham Pine Barrens. And we see Freeze talking to Nora, talking about all his plans and about Luther giving him his, the means to do all this stuff. And this is just filling you in the audience what's going on. And then we see these test subjects. Basically, he's found women that meet the psychological, the physical, and, various characteristics of his Nora, because he doesn't want to cryogenically unfreeze her without testing, and making sure it works, because he talks about that you only get one shot. And he doesn't want to fail, so he's going to basically get these innocent subjects. And you can see, look at all these bodies down here in the lower right corner. He's failed a lot. He talks about laboratory animals failing. Then we're in the Batcave. Gotham Central, what is your emergency? My toilet's overflowing, and I can't get it to stop. Gotham Central, what is your emergency? What should I feed my dog if it has diarrhea? Gotham Central, what is your emergency? There's a huge pothole on my street and it broke my axle. There's a dedicated number for that, sir, etc. You get these little funny little calls, and you see Alfred, doing the Chewbacca style work on the bat wing. It just reminded me of Chewbacca, working on the Millennium. So we're listening into this whole thing, and then we cut over to Batman. Or Bruce Wayne, we should say. And we see him. Holy shit, look at him. This is the Bruce Wayne that we know and love. Look at this, beefcake Bruce Wayne. Not the slender beta male Bruce Wayne. This is the guy who is the peak human form, pushes himself to the absolute limit to be in his, absolute peak fitness that it's possible for human being to be the best, combatant that a human being can be, because he doesn't have superpowers. So he pushes himself to the limits. And I just liked seeing this, because I feel like in modern comics, we've forgotten this part of Bruce Wayne, right? Bruce Wayne is a muscular mass of manliness. He's not this little metropolitan, metrosexual guy. It's just... So he's listening to all the, basically the traffic that comes into 911. And we hear one of them comes in. Gotham Central, what is your emergency? I was attacked in my home. 2 men, they shot me with a dart. Slow down, ma'am. Where do you live? I'll send a car over immediately. And then he strains. 32 Brayfogle Street. Nice homage there to Norm Brayfogle. They shot my dog too. But he's okay. I hit my head and my head's bleeding. My husband and kids went skiing for the weekend. That's kind of lame. The husband didn't take the wife skiing. She just left her home. But, whatever. This is just funny little point. I don't know how long I was knocked out. Wait, Seinfeld was on, so it was only 2 hours ago. And then you just see the look on Bruce's face. He's just putting all this together. He clang, drops the barbell. Computer, repeat last call and raise volume. Alfred, take a break and head over here. I'm a butler, not a chiropractor, damn it. I told you no heavy lifting with that back of yours. It's not my back that needs attention. Listen to this 911 call. So they listen, and they both kind of agree that there's something going on. So he says, fill her up, Alfred. I'm heading out. And I don't know what it is. I just loved that dynamic of just the interaction with Bruce and Alfred, just doing their normal everyday things. there's something about it that I can't really put my finger on, but it reminds me back in the old days of my youth enjoying comics and collecting comics, what Chris Claremont would do with the X-Men, and just occasionally have issues where, the X-Men are just at the mansion, playing softball or doing things on the side. We'd cut to them, not always just in the middle of fighting some supervillain. Now, you didn't get whole issues or arcs and stuff but it was nice to here and there to see those little touches. And over time, if you read the series for years, you put all those little pieces together, and you got a really, a solid glimpse inside the downtime of these characters' lives. And I really liked that part. I just felt like it worked really well. And then we see, we cut to Bullock, and guy comes up. Thought you might want to check this out, Captain Bullock. Interim Officer Conway, I still wear sergeant stripes. And is it going to give me heartburn? GCPD headquarters. Most likely, 2 more missing females just hit the desk. You gotta be kidding me. What the hell's going on? That's 4 women this week. So, all right. Update the shift sergeant. I gotta raise the electric bill. And I thought that was a cool line. Slam. Then he comes back. I don't want my dinner getting cold. Slam. This was an unnecessary touch, right? But it was a flavor. It adds flavor to the character. It adds flavor to the overall narrative. That are things. This is like a level of polish that is important that Tomasi is doing here. And this is when Tomasi's at peak form. Freaking cold up here. Here's hoping workers' comp covers being electrocuted. Clack. He clicks over the light. Gah! There's Batman just standing on top of the light. Bullock. He drops his coffee. Any other missing women in the city recently? Jane Does, runaways, immigrants. If the bat god of the night would be so kind to hop off the signal and give the pinched nerve in my neck a break, that'd be great. Better. Yeah, much. And I appreciated this, too, that, the difference between Bullock and Gordon, right? It's just fun that Bullock has this sort of this grumpy attitude about it all. He's kind of like a deadbeat cop who is a deadbeat. And this is my perception. I know maybe some old-time Batman, aficionados are going to be like, you got it all wrong, Batman. But my take on Bullock is he's sort of this deadbeat cop that was a good cop at one time, but Gotham wore him down, right? And so he just sort of gave up on trying to be like what Commissioner Gordon represents, which is like that super ideological cop that just never breaks. And Gordon has sort of been the inspiration, and Bullock has slowly been pulled a little bit way back towards caring again, but only a little bit. It's like baby steps. I just kind of like this. That makes Bullock interesting to me. And they have the little bit of exchange. It's, how did you hear the 911 call? Are you plugged into the GCPD listening to everything coming in and out? And it just cuts to Batman blank stare. I just love this. Figures. It's the perfect Batman response. Don't even respond. Don't give any hint, no emotion. Just great. Tomasi, primo. So they have their little exchange. And says, is there anything you're not plugged into, Batman? Oh, sheesh. Gordon's got the patience of a saint to put up with this crap. And this is a point that I wanted to talk about here. I liked this because it made me think about continuity. And it's oftentimes we complain about the lack of continuity in modern comics. And, they don't even mean anything. And I'm like, okay, so we got at the beginning a little bit of a reference to what's going on in the main Batman book. And I've addressed that, if you hate what's going on, you have every reason to, that's fine. But be that as it may, there are people that do like what's going on in that Batman book. Can't fathom why, but they do. And it's Tomasi's job to do the fans right? He can't write Tom King's books for him. His job is to write his books the best they can be and treat DC Comics the way we want to be treated. And I absolutely respect that he's reflecting on the Batman books, because it's happening. It's not Tomasi's fault. He's tying in continuity. But furthermore, right here, why is Jim Gordon not doing the light? Well, because Jim Gordon's missing. As you see, as seen in the Batman Who Laughs collection on sale now, where Bullock says, "I'm surprised you haven't asked about Gordon, but I'm sure you know how much he's been taking time off lately." Gordon, spoiler, is one of the infected. This happened in the Batman Who Laughs, which sort of kicked off this whole infected story, which is being kind of led through the Batman Superman title that I do videos on. I recommend you read Batman Who Laughs if you want to be all in on the story. It's a good story. It's Scott Snyder Batman, so take that. You should know whether or not you like Scott Snyder Batman by now. But here we go. We see Tomasi recognizing Gordon's not around. Tomasi's not just being like, whatever, who cares what's going on over there? I'm going to have Gordon. He's paying attention. He's, right? These are things that fans complain about, that Tomasi is giving, he's giving the fans what they want. We need to recognize, I make these impassioned pleas to recognize the guys. Not all comics are bad. Some guys are doing the job right, and they deserve your attention. And there's a group over at DC that I'm not sure if Tomasi is really a part of, but I call it the Jeff Johns, Scott Snyder camp. And if Tomasi's not a part of it, he's at least recognizing it, and he's doing good work. So we cut back to Mr. Freeze. And one of the goons come back, and they explain like why they didn't get the body. And it's like, we didn't, we thought you wouldn't want it, because he's like, never do my thinking for me. And he's like, and he just freezes his head. Certain head injuries are worse than others. Some are traumatic. And the body falls backwards, and the head just shatters into a million pieces. While others are superficial. All teams go back to the house before she awakens, and bring her here without further damage. So they're like, so they scramble, and they're just like, okay, still likely she's knocked out from the tranq darts. So this is going to be in and out. Yep, like I said, still on the floor. So they're peeking through the window here. You can see out for the count. So they're starting to open the door, and then we see, "Come in. I've been expecting you." And Batman's just waiting, trap laid. And that was awesome. And it's next out cold. So this is a really good setup to this Freeze storyline. And of course, Batman's going to get onto the case because he's going to discover these henchmen, which is going to obviously lead him into figuring out that Freeze is involved. And then we can only guess at what's Tomasi's going to tell after this. I really enjoyed this. It's not Tomasi's best work, but it's really good, solid Batman. And I really like that it feels like it's getting back into the big narrative. The previous books that we've had, we had the Joker one-shot story, which was fun. It was, and for a one-shot comic, it was really well done. Then we had the 2-part Spectre story, and then that recent 3-part Deadshot story, which I'm not really a fan of Deadshot. I think he's kind of a gimp when it comes to Batman villains. But it was an actually interesting story. The art suffered on those previous 3 issues, I thought, but it was kind of this charming little story of Batman on this island and the things he discovers, and it's fun. Every book I've been reading on this Detective Comics run has been fun. They haven't all been the best, but they've not been bad, not a single one. And I really liked the first arc he did before Batman 1000. Then I like the Arkham Knight arc that he did after that. And this feels like his 3rd big arc that he's going to start. And I'm along for the ride. Tomasi knows how to do Damian the best. And so I'm really hoping he factors in some more Damian Wayne, because I don't want to see other writers be the big voice of Damian Wayne. They don't get him. They turn him into this stupid psychopath that you want to hate. Tomasi makes him into a kid that is a very troubled child. I mean, he was raised by the League of Assassins, and he was raised to be an assassin as a small child. That's got to warp your brain. And Batman is being a father figure and a hero figure to this boy. And it's what makes the Damian character so interesting is to see this character's path go from a troubled, dysfunctional child with all sorts of anger issues and everything to having the example of Batman being your father, who's a true hero. He's not the Tom King whiny baby, oh, woe's me, and you know, I'm just going to hang out in Hawaii and mope while, you know, Alfred's dead. It's just stupid. He's not that guy. Batman is the prime example of perseverance. This is a guy that does what he says. He doesn't just say things. He's not talk, you know. He means what he says, and he says what he means. He doesn't give up. He's absolutely with integrity. And these are the perfect type of things that a boy needs in a father figure. They need a father that's a hero. I mean, in real life, boys think their father, a good father, is their hero. But in reality, Batman's more than just a hero. He's also a superhero. And to see that have the effect on Damian Wayne and bring him around to the light side, if you will, and be that positive influence on him and trying to emulate his father and leave that dark past behind him is fascinating. And it makes you want to cheer for the character. And Tomasi gets that. Now, Damian's not even in this book. I don't know why I'm talking so much about it, but it's just me rooting for Peter Tomasi here. I just want to talk about that. I'm probably going to talk about that more. So hopefully you enjoyed listening to this video. All my videos, for those who might be this new to this, all my videos are just really a conversation. They're meant to be able to, you can just listen to it if you don't want to watch, if you just want to, you know, listen to it on your drive to work, listen to it while you're doing dishes. Mowing the lawn might be hard, might be loud, but, you know, on your downtime or something, you just want something in your ear and you want to talk comics. It's a podcast style show of me basically talking to fellow comic fans and sharing what we love, griping about what we, you know, hate, and all along just being a part of what being a comic fan is. Now I'm just blabbing on indefinitely here, so I'm going to end it. Thank you so much for watching. Leave comments below, like, subscribe, hit the bell, do any of those things that would help. Remember, word of mouth helps the channel. I only have a few hundred subscribers. I'm not some big wig. So passing along to anyone you know that might enjoy this helps a lot. Hitting like, all those things, commenting, it all helps the algorithm for me. I don't make any money or anything like that. Like I said, this is just a hobby, but it's nice to feel like that people enjoy what you're doing. So I'm going to let you go now. Thanks again.